Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the Insolence. Before we get into that, if you have not already, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and leave a like on this video, because today's video is a bit long and it's pretty crazy. So anyway, let's get into the video. Alright, so the eye. Our first sighting of the eye, it was actually in the safe place. Now, safe place does have an eye watching over you on the bottom floor, and there's actually a note below that. We'll talk about that later in the video. And basically, the eye basically looks exactly like Mr. Stitchy's eye, and it also has a question mark on it. Now, if we do look at Mr. Stitchy, basically, his eye looks exactly the same. It's just it doesn't have a question mark on it. Now, let's just talk about some sightings of Mr. Stitchy. But before we get into that, what does the insolence mean? The insolence means like rude, a mean type of person, basically like a bully. Anyway, as I was saying, how does this connect to Mr. Stitchy? Well, first we're gonna need to take some backstory on Mr. Stitchy. Mr. Stitchy came around during October after a spooky, summon thingamabobber, where we had to summon Mr. Stitchy with some beacons. Now, Mr. Stitchy is basically a really tall guy, and he's holding a lamp, and he has a mask or something like that. He's pretty creepy. And the first time we hear of him is basically during the Piggy spooky hunt, basically the Halloween event. Now, basically about Mr. Stitchy, we don't exactly know who summoned him. Now in this egg hunt thing, we are the ones who summoned him. But I don't know if we were the ones exactly who summoned him, but there are some notes that correlate to Mr. Stitchy that came around during this event. One of them is, do not draw the house with light. It will draw him closer. Basically, that's not exactly what but basically it will draw him to you, basically. And there's also another note, because that last one was kind of confusing. Maybe it's like, do not light the candles or something. But next note says, I gave him a face. What? I was his only friend. So Mr. Stitchy apparently had a friend, and he was given a face. Maybe that explains the mask and all that stuff. And remember, these notes are pretty old. And here, there's a very, very, very interesting note that says, someone began to disrupt the countryside. The descriptions of the witnesses matched his look. I never saw him again. Now, whoever said this, I don't know. Maybe it's Mr. Stitchy, because I'm pretty sure this was in the carnival. We don't exactly know who's writing most of these notes. But now, there's also another note which says, when he learned of my condition, he grew sad and frustrated. He left. So apparently, this person had a condition, whoever's writing the notes. I'm assuming his friend, and he basically left. Now, this is even more interesting. It actually relates to Piggy Book 2 Chapter 4, and it says, light the beacon, summon it. Well, not Chapter 4, Chapter 5. Now, I don't know if you remember, but in Chapter 5, there was also another note that said, light the beacon, summon it. And basically, lighting the beacon, I'm pretty sure they're talking about, how we lit the candles and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure that's what they mean by light the beacon, summon it. But Mr. Stitchy, including that, around this time, Mr. Stitchy started appearing in random maps. He was watching us. Basically, he was watching us in Piggy Book 2 Chapter 1. And I'm pretty sure that is the first time we saw him. So this Mr. Stitchy stuff did not start around the October hunt canonically in the storyline, because we saw Mr. Stitchy in Chapter 1, which happened before literally everything. So that was his first sighting. And he's actually apparently watching over us. He was seen in maps such as the house, the forest, the school, the carnival. Here's an example in the carnival. He's been watching us in a lot of maps, which is kind of freaky, if I'm honest. Now, where this whole cult stuff started, by the way, I'm pretty sure this is a cult because, you know, they're just worshipping it. And some evidence is basically this note in the classroom in chapter 5. It says, the Insolence calls my name. I will stay down here, even if the workers wish to flood it. I will devote myself to the eye. Basically, they're talking about devoting themselves. That's obviously cult behavior. This note doesn't seem too old, so it basically happened when it's like recently got flooded. Now, who exactly wrote this note, we'll talk about that in a different video. But behind the board in the classroom, there's actually a big eye, like it's huge. So that's another location of the eye. Now, who was actually writing this note? Let's we'll get to that later. But like, who could be the leader? Because it obviously seems like Mr. Stitchy is the leader. Now, I'm pretty sure he is the leader because, you know, he's a tall guy. He was the first one we saw with the eye. Now, there's also another person with the eye, and that is Koali. Koali, he came out of the sewers. I'm pretty sure he was the one who wrote the note. Basically, the workers were gonna flood this place because of the eye cult stuff that was happening down here, but he still wanted to stay down there. I don't think this was Alphys because he's an alligator. I'm pretty sure he would just easily be able to swim up. Plus, he doesn't seem too devoted to the eye. I know he has orange eyes. First of all, I'm pretty sure he is a member of the eye. I'm 100% sure Alphys is a member of the eye. Because if you remember Mary, the puppet that was being controlled by someone or something, if you remember, she had orange eyes, but she was being controlled like she was a marionette. She was getting controlled by a puppet master. So she had orange eyes like Mr. Stitchy, not exactly like them, but basically he could see through them. And remember, orange. If you remember to the orange colors, if you remember a while back, Mr. P told us like that MiniToon told us that the color of an infected's eye tells us about their like past, how they were. And also, I think the reason I think it's Koali because the green eye I thought like symbolized that something like happened to them, like something like in a like chemically or scientifical, like chemical for them. That would make sense for the sewer stuff. But basically, there probably other members, but so far, these are the only members I'm going to 100% clear that are Insolence members. Now for the cryptic notes. The cryptic note that was in the safe place, it was weird. It was basically a weird cryptic note, and it made no sense. But it basically says, after decoding, it says, "The Insolence watches thy crimes, those that will haunt those for lifetimes." Basically he's talking about watching crimes, and the eye was literally found near every single TSP member, like doing, basically they're like criminals. It was found near every TSP member in like this factory, which is where we saw the most amount of eyes. Now, MiniToon also tweeted out a cryptic tweet, and it basically meant, "The eye doth seek from underneath, the eye doth seek those who are meek." Basically, meek basically means like weak, lighthearted, and all that stuff. Now, Pony is actually an evil guy from like from a new note in chapter 6. We actually found that he like deserted the TSP members, and they're mad at him. Like, he left them with Mr. Stitchy, and he actually says, "I don't like this place. The whispers are even louder here. Let's leave this awful place." That's the wrong dialogue. I'm an idiot. That is a dialogue that he says in the factory, but in like where it all started in the safe house, he says, "The Insolence watches." What did I just say? A strange voice came into my head, but I don't remember what it told me. Now, this means I'm pretty sure we know that Pony did something to, like, you know, he did something to the eye and made them mad. And by the way, I'm pretty sure the underneath thing, they're literally in the sewers, the cult. I'm pretty sure that's where they like look at them. Now, for some reason, Willow isn't bothered by this, which is weird, but yeah, but Pony, is he evil? I actually talked about it in a different video, but he could possibly be related to the Eye. He hasn't told us anything he's done with them. So I am kind of sus of him. We might need to eject the imposter soon. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified of future videos. And this video took a while to make, so if you could just take 1 second to subscribe and leave a like, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, we're close to 200 subs. But anyway, I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye.